Hull, open three. Oh, what a sight for Lexie Hull. She has needed that one to drop.
No point guards, no Caitlin Clark, no chance, right? That's what everyone thought. Until the Indiana Fever walked into Chicago and turned a nightmare lineup into one of the most ruthless, all-out dismantlings of the season. What happened next didn't just save their playoff hopes. It might have changed the team forever.
We're back home, baby. Let's go! Back in the W column. That's a big job, baby. Point guard.
Just a week earlier, the Fever looked unstoppable. They were fresh off a dominant stretch on the West Coast, dismantling opponents with the kind of swagger that made playoff basketball feel inevitable. The chemistry was clicking, the defense was tightening, and the offense, led by Caitlin Clark, was humming like a well-oiled machine. Then, without warning, it all unraveled. 2 games, 2 gut-punch losses. First in Phoenix, then in Los Angeles. And neither was just your average off night. These were the kind of defeats that leave you staring at the locker room floor, wondering if the hype was all smoke. It wasn't just that they lost, it was how they lost. Sloppy turnovers, missed rotations, and an offense that suddenly looked hesitant. The same team that had been dictating the pace was now reacting, chasing, scrambling to keep up. And looming over it all was the absence of Caitlin Clark. She'd been out since July 15th with quad and groin injuries, no timetable for return. Without her on the floor, the Fever lost their heartbeat, their floor leader, and the player who could drag them back into a game with a single deep three. The cracks were forming. The confidence was shaking. And no one, not the fans, not the media, not even the players, knew what was about to hit them next. Because the worst news of the season was only a few hours away.
Obviously we lost our last 2, but I think, that LA one felt good for us because we didn't quit. And then, life happened the other night at the Valley, so we could have looked at it like, oh, woe is me, and, we don't have enough players, and we didn't. So shout out to our group for just staying, confident and staying ready because, it's a professional league, and we have to be ready, and we can't make too many excuses about it because no one's going to hand us anything. So we might as well look at it for what it is and keep showing up.
If the Fever's confidence was wobbling after back-to-back losses, the next 48 minutes would blow the floor out from under them. It happened in Phoenix, and you could feel the mood shift the moment it started. First, Sydney Colson, the veteran spark plug, the player who kept the offense steady in Caitlin Clark's absence, drove to the basket, planted hard, and crumpled to the floor. She clutched her left knee, grimacing in pain. The arena went silent. Within hours, the diagnosis was in: ACL tear, season over. But the basketball gods weren't done. Late in the fourth quarter, Ari McDonald, the backup to the backup, came down awkwardly on her right foot. The replay showed it clearly. A break, another season-ending injury, 2 point guards, same game, gone. It wasn't just bad luck. It was the stuff coaches have nightmares about. The trade deadline had already passed, which meant the Fever couldn't sign or trade for help. There was no cavalry coming. The roster they had right now was the roster they'd have to finish the season with. Around the league, the whispers started. Could Indiana even stay afloat without their floor generals? Was this the moment their playoff push would collapse? Inside the locker room, though, something different was brewing. Because while outsiders saw disaster, the Fever were about to see opportunity.
Unbelievably proud. I think this is the most resilient team I've ever been a part of, and I say that wholeheartedly. We've had a lot of mishap happen throughout the course of the season. I think throughout the course of it all, we've stayed resilient, and you guys get to see us at our best when we stay together and be resilient. So shout out to my girls tonight because I think it took everybody. Everyone played a piece, played a role, and I think that's how we got the dub.
Coach Stephanie White didn't sugarcoat it. There was no replacing 2 point guards overnight. The only option was to rip up the old game plan and start from scratch. Her solution? A by-committee offense. That meant everyone, from Aaliyah Boston to Sophie Cunningham to Kelsey Mitchell, would share the job of initiating plays. Forget traditional positions. Forget the comfort of running a familiar set. This was going to be basketball in its most stripped-down form. Simplify, adapt, survive. Boston, the anchor in the paint, would handle some of the half-court setups. Cunningham, normally a wing, would slide into more ball-handling responsibilities. And Mitchell, the pure scorer who'd built her entire career on hunting her own shot, would suddenly become the de facto floor general. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't even fully mapped out. But in a league where no one hands you anything, White knew hesitation was deadly. And while the outside world saw a patched-together lineup limping toward the playoffs, the Fever saw something else, a chance to prove that their identity wasn't tied to one star or even one position. Still, even the best strategy needs players who can execute it, and that's where the spotlight turned to a shooter whose confidence had all but disappeared. For Lexie Hull, the season had started with promise, a reliable 3-and-D threat who could stretch the floor and make opponents pay for leaving her open. But over the past few weeks, that promise had turned into something far darker. The numbers told part of the story. Just 2 made threes in her last 25 attempts. Wide open looks clanging off the rim. Hesitation creeping into a shot that used to be automatic. Every miss piling onto the next until it wasn't just a slump, it was a mental battle. Then came Phoenix. 1 for 11 from the field, 0 for 8 from deep, 2 points total. It was the kind of night that burns into your memory for all the wrong reasons. After the game, Kelsey Mitchell pulled Hull aside. No cameras, no press. Just a teammate telling another, "We need you." Not just when the shots fall, every single night. It wasn't about sympathy, it was a challenge. Still, challenges don't erase doubt overnight. Hull was heading into Chicago carrying weeks of frustration, knowing the team desperately needed someone, anyone, to step up, and she had no way of knowing that her moment was about to arrive in the loudest way possible. It started with a single shot. Early in the first half against Chicago, Hull found herself open beyond the arc, the kind of look she'd been passing up in recent weeks. But this time, she let it fly. The ball left her hands with that old, confident rotation and snapped through the net. On the bench, Caitlin Clark exploded, grinning and clapping like she'd hit the shot herself. And just like that, something inside Hull clicked. The hesitation was gone, the slump forgotten. From that moment on, Hull hunted her shot like a player who'd been waiting months for permission to unleash. Step into the corner, fire. Trail in transition, fire. Chicago's defense didn't know whether to close out or pray she'd miss, and neither worked. She finished 4 for 6 from deep, racking up 17 points and a plus 22 plus minus. But the stat sheet didn't tell the whole story. You could see it in her body language, cutting hard, moving without the ball, talking on defense. She was back. Her teammates felt it too. Aaliyah Boston threw up the 3-point sign with both hands. Sophie Cunningham wrapped her in a hug after one make. The crowd roared with every release, sensing they were watching a player reclaim her identity in real time. For weeks, Hull had been a question mark. Now, she was an exclamation point. And while she was lighting it up on the wing, another Fever star was quietly rewriting her own role in a way that would change the entire offense. Kelsey Mitchell has built her reputation on one thing: scoring. 7 seasons in the league, countless defenders left chasing her first step, and a green light that never flickered. But with both point guards out, Mitchell was about to step into territory she hadn't touched since college. She wasn't just being asked to bring the ball up, she was being asked to run the offense full-time. At first, it looked awkward. Her instincts screamed to attack, to create her own shot. But now, every possession started with scanning the floor, reading defenders, finding the right pass. It was a rewiring of her basketball brain in real time. And then it happened, the shift. Mitchell began to see passing lanes she'd never noticed before, threads of space that could turn into layups. She started setting up teammates with feeds so crisp they barely had to adjust before scoring. By the final buzzer, Mitchell had racked up a season-high 8 assists with only 1 turnover, all while still hitting the big shots when the defense overcommitted. She wasn't just surviving in the role, she was thriving. Her sacrifice didn't go unnoticed. Teammates praised her willingness to step out of her comfort zone, to put the team's needs above her own stats. It was the kind of leadership you can't fake, the kind that turns a roster into a unit. And on this night, that unit was dismantling Chicago possession by possession. On paper, this was the Sky's moment. Indiana was wounded, missing its superstar, stripped of its point guards, and coming off 2 straight losses. The Fever had beaten them 3 times already this season, but this matchup looked different. If Chicago was ever going to punch back, this was it. But the Sky didn't just miss their chance. They walked straight into a trap. Instead of a team limping to the finish line, they faced a group playing with nothing to lose. Indiana's ball movement sliced them apart. Hull's threes fell like clockwork. Mitchell's drives collapsed the defense. Boston owned the paint. Every adjustment Chicago tried only opened another hole. Play Hull tight on the perimeter, Mitchell and Cunningham attacked the lane. Collapse inside on Boston, Hull and Westbeld buried open jumpers. By halftime, the Sky looked rattled. By the 4th quarter, they looked beaten. This wasn't the revenge game they'd imagined. It was a demolition. And the Fever weren't done sending a message. Because this game wasn't just about the scoreboard. It was about proving something far bigger. The final score read 92-70. A 22-point blowout without Caitlin Clark, without a single healthy point guard, against a team desperate for a win. That's not just impressive, that's a statement. For the Fever, it was proof that their identity runs deeper than one superstar. This was resilience you could see and feel. In Hull snapping out of her slump, in Mitchell reinventing her game on the fly, in Boston holding the paint like a fortress. Coach Stephanie White has preached all season about building a roster of quality human beings who play for each other. Nights like this are where that philosophy cashes in. When Hull was struggling, they kept feeding her. When Mitchell had to run the offense, they adjusted their own roles without complaint. When adversity piled up, they didn't flinch. And here's the scary part for the rest of the league. This is what the Fever look like without Clark. Add her back into this rotation come playoff time, and you're looking at a team that's not just trying to make the bracket, they're looking to make noise once they're in it. The Sky came in thinking they'd found the Fever at their weakest. Instead, they ran into a team that's only getting stronger, battle-tested, and fearless. And if you're an opponent watching this tape, you're not just seeing a win, you're seeing a warning.